Alright, so today I'm just gonna be trying to name all 1025 Pokemon from memory. I'm gonna try and get a time below 25 minutes, but I think I'd be fine below 30 minutes as well. I'm just gonna start it right now. 3, 2, 1, and I already failed. So I think any Pokemon fan will be able to name all the Pokemon just when they see them, but doing it from memory is a bit harder. You can't see all the silhouettes at all. You have no reference, and doing it without oh oh my god, okay, doing it without seeing any reference is definitely difficult, but recognition is a lot better than just free recall when it comes to remembering something. I'm gonna try and stick to Pokedex order as best as I can, but as you saw, I'm not going to be able to do that well. So, Kanto is relatively easy. I'm pretty sure everyone knows the order pretty well, especially when you remember things like the Pokerap. Pokerap is a good way to remember all 151 original Pokemon. For me, I just do it freehand, sort of. So, my first games were actually the Hoenn games, but I'm a lot better at remembering the Kanto Pokemon. Not really sure why. I think because Kanto Pokemon are just in every single game. It makes it a lot easier to remember um, just the species in general. Now, right now I'm going kind of fast, but once I get to the later generations, you'll see me start to slow down. I think my greatest weakness in something like this is my typing speed. I still kind of use a sort of two-finger method, and that really makes it difficult to type these quickly. Okay, that's the first 100. Got a big missing gap there. What the hell is that? Coughing and wheezing. Okay, now we've got some water Pokemon here. And then I'm gonna hit the end of the Kanto Dex pretty soon. These last few are pretty easy to remember. Just, whoops. Got the Eevee and Ditto lines, and then you got the fossils. Trying to do this while speaking is a bit difficult, but not too bad. Just trying to not make as many mistakes. Okay, it's the first 151. Now Johto is a bit more difficult for me to remember because, as I said, I started with Hoenn. So those are the Gen 3 games, and if you know the Pokemon distribution of the Johto Pokemon in the Gen 3 games isn't the best. Just everything is strewn about through all the 5 main games, plus the Colosseum and XD as well. So, okay. So I'm just trying to remember it. I try to remember things in chunks, like where they are in the games. I think that's the easiest way to at least start remembering the order, at least. I'm not really confident when it comes to remembering things exactly in National Dex order. I get a few mistakes here and there. But I'm alright at it. You see, I'm kind of doing it in that order, but I'm also jumping around when I don't keep myself strictly in the order. So just when I remember something, I just put it in. But I'm trying not to break region order. Let's see what's next. This part of the Johto Dex is always difficult for me. Okay. Slug with Makago. And what's next? I can never remember the exact order of the Pokemon in this area. Artillery, what's this? Skarmory, Corsola. Johto Dex is just Pokemon are just randomly placed everywhere. It's not really easy to memorize. Getting up to the end, you've got these baby Pokemon, and Blissey, Miltank, and now you've got the legendaries. It also helps that I'm used to writing the names of Pokemon a lot. That's the first. Is Johto done? Now, Hoenn. A lot easier for me. Very familiar with the Hoenn games. Ordering is a bit easy for me to remember, but it's still a bit random, especially in the later sections. Lotel Lombre. And then the birds. Okay, entering the Petalburg Woods area now. And, okay. Now the Hoenn games, I've replayed them a lot, but they do get kind of boring around the water areas. There's just too much of it in one go. It'd be better if they were a bit more spread out, and just the sheer amount of it makes it a bit of a slog to get through. And it's tight. Learn to spell. That's why you've got people saying, oh, too much water, 7.8 out of 10. Like, I kind of get what Game Freak was going for when it came to the Hoenn games. That sort of 50% water, 50% land, but why just all at the end? Had a bit of a brain fart there. Desert area here, and then everything around Mount Meteor Falls. I'm sorry, bit of a misspeak there. Alright. More here, we've got the fossils now. Everything past Route 119. Alright. Why not? And then we've got ice Pokemon. Diving. Rather than surfing, I prefer diving, but it's not much diving in the end of the later games. It's a bit sad, because I felt the diving mechanic was pretty cool. You got to, like, discovering underwater worlds. It's always one of those exciting things you see in media. Okay, that's it. Now, Sinnoh. Now, as I said, I started with, oh, I just noticed Ditto's changing. As I said, I started with Hoenn, started with Pokemon Emerald. So, going into Diamond and Pearl, that was the first time that I had experienced sort of new Pokemon and a new release period with information coming out from Japan, seeing all the Japanese names of the Pokemon. It was my first time experiencing actually the online community of Pokemon. Didn't really have internet before that. It's a lot different from now, where my first rename, it's embarrassing. Yeah, compared to now when everything is global release, it's a lot different. Where we had to wait, like 7 or 8 months before we even got a taste of the English version of the games. Didn't even know the release dates for ages. And I remember seeing, what's next? Cerebi doing the Diamond and Pearl release. All the spoilers just all over the site. Okay, that's the baby area done. And now we get to the Great Marsh area. And what's next? Finneon, Lumineon. Okay. Now all these evolutions. They're in relatively national dex order, so not too difficult. Yanmega, Mamoswine, Gliscor, Porygon Z. Okay, now just the legendaries. A lot of people say that there are too many legendaries in Sinnoh, but just wait until Alola, you see all the legendaries and Ultra Beasts. So many. Okay, 12 minutes, not a good time. I'm trying to concentrate on both typing and speaking. Not really used to that. Now, starting in Unova, you've got a pretty sensible ordering system. Basically, it's in, like, what do you call it, journey order? Where the positioning in the dex is sort of matches where you find it in the region. So Pokemon early in the dex, you find earlier in the games. It sort of did that with Hoenn and Sinnoh, but Unova's when they really, I think the correlation between order and positioning in the dex and when you find it in the wild is a lot stronger. Okay. Now, one criticism that a lot of people have on the Unova Pokemon is the similarities to the first 150. I kind of get that, but I don't feel it's as strong as people say it is. Like, a lot of people think that it's straight copies of Pokemon, but I don't think that many Pokemon are straight copies. I think the most egregious is Munna and Musharna, which are psychic type dream eating tapers, which is exactly the same as Drowsy and Hypno. Like, Pokemon have similar concepts, you have similar animals, but those are just based off the exact same idea. Like, did they forget? I don't really understand that. Okay, Soulsbuck. Vanillite. Ice cream Pokemon that nobody likes. I think they're alright. Now, some of the few water Pokemon in this gen. There's just so few, like, Pokemon that you can find in the water. I mean, that's why they had to make Basculin. They said they needed just a random fish Pokemon. That's why it exists. Okay. Okay. Oh my god, terrible. Heading on to the late game Pokemon now. Pokemon that have way too high of an evolution level. I don't really mind it that much, but it is a bit annoying finding a Mienfoo or something in the early game, and now you have to wait all the way until level 50 in order for it to evolve. But I don't really agree with some people saying that they should change the evolution levels. I guess I'm sort of conservative in that sense. Okay, over halfway. These next four shouldn't be that hard. Pretty much in the home stretch at this point. Kalos Pokemon. There goes B. X and Y were the very first worldwide release games in the Pokemon. Oh, probably not. I don't want to really say the Pokemon franchise. There's probably one set of games that, probably spin-off games that was released worldwide at the same time that I can't remember at some point. But in terms of mainline games, these were the first, X and Y. I sort of fell off of the Pokemon craze back during the X and Y, the Black and White era. Like, I played through Black, but Black 2 and White 2, I just had a hard time getting into that. I remember getting up to Verbank and then just not being able to get any. I just didn't have the motivation to go further with it. It wasn't until about half a decade later when I finally played those games to completion. And I kind of fell off Pokemon for about a year or so. Then when X and Y were announced in, what was it, January of 2013, that's when I came back. I was so off I'd gone so disinterested in Pokemon that I didn't even know that Pumpkaboo, that Direct was even happening. I just managed to see it in my recommended. I remember people were guessing something called Pokemon Rainbow or something. Don't know what that was all about. And we got what am I doing? We got a global release, which is, I guess, was a good time to get back into Pokemon. I remember staying up till midnight, waiting for the game to release. My family and I went out to a super far store just to get it because it was the only one that was actually open at midnight. My God. Oh my god. Might as well finish that line. Yeah, and there were a bunch of people lined up there. It was my first time that I'd been to a midnight release. Just went up to the counter and they immediately just brought out the game. It was pretty funny. First time experiencing something like that. Okay. This. My typing's gonna get a bit sloppy here. I'm not really used to writing the names of these newer Pokemon, at least not as much as the older Pokemon. So I'm gonna lag a bit when it comes to writing these. I'm gonna have couple more mistakes. Let's see. Sandygast, Palossand. Now, one thing you will notice in this quiz is that they add in the regional Pokemon in between the regular Pokemon from Alola onwards. Makes it a bit harder to do the region-only Pokemon quizzes because you not only have to remember the actual region-specific Pokemon, but also the regional forms. And also, from Kalos onwards, you also have to remember the other forms like Megas, Gigantamax. Just makes it a bit more difficult. Onto the big list of Ultra Beast now. Pheromosa. Celesteela. Ooh, my time's pretty bad. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna get that under 25-minute time. But under 30 is still possible, as long as I don't screw up. Squavit. Squavit is way too hard to type, at least quickly. Corvisquire as well. Let's see. Now the Johto Dex is really bad at keeping things in a relatively region game order, like I described with Unova. Oh my god. But Gala's even worse. I don't know what the hell they were thinking with this order. What is missing? What am I doing? Gossifleur. God. Alright. So Sword and Shield, the first foray, in a sense, into open world style games. I feel the wild area is just... I don't think it was a really... Clobbopus. Really good first open world area. I mean, one big criticism that a lot of people have compared to not just Sword and Shield, but just in general, just any open world games is how empty they are. Like, oh, you're just gonna have grass there? What else? NPCs. The NPCs aren't really very interesting. Like, why should I explore all this large area that you've given us? New Pokemon, I guess, in case of Sword and Shield, but it's not really necessary to do that. Yeah, got the DLC Pokemon here. Galastria, Spectria. Now Legends Arceus. Oh, whoops, Calyrex. And oh, that's 25 minutes. Couldn't get onto that. It's a bit disappointing. What can you do? Well, okay, last ones. Now, criticisms of how empty the wild area is. I think it's a bit better in Scarlet and Violet, but it is still kind of empty. Pomo. I mean, there's a lot of trainers. Well, not well for the how big the region is. Actually, it's not that much. But I did just recently replay Scarlet and Violet, and just doing a regular all trainers playthrough, and there's just so much space. There's just chalk it. There's like my one playthrough that included the 2 DLC areas. That was like over 50 hours long. I'm like, what? Compared to my regular 20 hours or less for the previous games. Not even Sword and Shield was that long. I can beat that with the DLC in under 25 hours. Okay, I better pick up the pace a bit. But 50 hours? Jesus Christ. So long. There's so many trainers. It's even worse in the Indigo Disc area, the Blueberry Academy. Because the double battle system and just how tough some of the regular trainers are makes it the battles way too long. Okay, 2 minutes. Great task. Okay. Okay. Paradox Pokemon are pretty easy. Almost done. Growing Min, Iron Leaves, Rhydon Rider, okay, DLC Pokemon. Oh, Iron Valiant. Walking Awake. Diplin. Kidoki. Kidoi, Pheasantipity. Okay, come on. And alright, there we go. Under 30 minutes. time isn't as good as I thought it'd be. I usually get about 23 minutes with this kind of thing. But, I mean, I was trying to talk, and, well, I mean, I think this is the fastest on YouTube at least. At least I haven't seen a time faster than this. Most people take around an hour, and they don't even name all the Pokemon, so I think that's a pretty good result. That's all I have to say. Thanks for watching.